Hey guys, Nick Smith here, and today I'm going to be showing the way that I resize my images for the web. Now, I get a lot of questions about this because people are always wondering how I manage to keep my Instagram uploads really sharp and high quality. And the trick is I resize before so the algorithm doesn't mess it up. Now, I want to apologize real quick because the audio might be kind of bad on this because I seem to be having a problem with my cable. I have a new one coming in the mail. But if that doesn't actually fix it, I might have to get a new microphone because this is going to require a lot of noise reduction and I cannot figure out why it's so noisy today. So it might sound a little different, so bear with me for this tutorial, okay? Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to flatten our edits in with our base layer. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold down Shift and then click on the first one and then click above. And then we're going to hit Control E or Command E on Mac. And that's just going to flatten our edits down because we want to make sure that it doesn't actually scale up when we resize and make things larger than they should be, especially if you're using like a grain or some other filters like that. It can actually kind of get wonky when you resize. So what we're going to do now is we are going to hold down Control Alt and hit I or Command Option and I, and we're going to select the lower number, whatever is the smaller number, and we're going to make it 2160. Now, the reason I like 2160 is that is the base resolution for the small side of a 4K screen. So you're basically future-proofing your images for the web by doing this because eventually 4K screens are going to become commonplace. They're going to be the only thing, just like 1080 is now. When's the last time you saw a 720p or 480p screen? Unless it's maybe on some really cheap Chinese phone, but why would anyone buy that? Anyways, so 2160. And under here we want resample checked, and then we're going to go to where it says automatic, and we're going to change this to bicubic sharper. I'm sure automatic will do this for us, but typically I like to just have it say bicubic sharper because that way I know it's doing what I want it to do. So what this does is it takes all the extra pixels and all the extra data that we have in the image when we're resizing and makes it just sharpen up the edges. So by resizing, what we're actually doing is applying a second layer of sharpening, and we're doing this after we've already sharpened our base image. If you haven't checked out my tutorial on sharpening, I'll leave a card in the upper right hand corner so you can go take a look at that and you'll see what we do before. So we're going to go ahead and select bicubic sharper, and then we're going to hit OK. And it's basically, like I said, it's just going to reduce the size of it and then it's going to sharpen it up. So if we go ahead and zoom in, this is at 100%. I'm recording this on a 4K screen, so it should be, actual pixel level what it is. And as you notice, it's taller than the actual screen is because the short side is at 2160. So like I mentioned, that's what the actual vertical resolution of a 4K screen is. So if we were on a phone with a 4K screen, this would fit a lot better. And it would actually take up every pixel on the screen, which is our goal. So what we're going to do now is, because we are going to be uploading this to the web, we want to make sure that it's in the right color space. I tend to edit in ProPhoto RGB just because that way I have the most amount of options for what I'm doing. So we want to convert this, and I have a keyboard shortcut set up for this, and what you can do instead of this is you can go to Image, and then it's actually Edit, and then down to Convert to Profile. I have it set to Alt Shift Control C. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and use that keyboard shortcut. And then what that does is it brings up the Convert to Profile. You can do that. I'm not sure if everyone has that set up or if I made this shortcut myself because I use it so often. But take a look and see. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to this drop down here and we're going to select srgb. Now the reason we want to select srgb is what happens when you upload in ProPhoto. Most web browsers and apps and phones and stuff like that don't actually support the color space, and it really messes up your colors. You'll get these really dull, washed out, and strange looking colors when you look at an image that is in ProPhoto color space on a device that does not support it. So the same applies to Adobe RGB. While it's typically more supported than ProPhoto, most web browsers still do not like it. So we definitely want to change it to sRGB so that way it looks the same across all devices and it kind of has the right color space. So that way no one is getting, anything left out and you know exactly what your image is going to look like. So we're going to select that and then we're going to hit OK. And now what we are going to do is just save it out how we normally would. I'm sure everyone has their own method that they like to do. A lot of people use the Save for Web tool. Typically I don't like to use that. I just use Save As. under File, and I export it as a JPEG and everything like that. But it's pretty easy to do this. It's not a very complicated or long process at all, and you will notice instantly that your uploads look a lot better on Instagram if you've been doing full-size uploads and then letting them compress them and resize them. Even though Instagram tends to resize to 1080, I still find that 2160 gives a better result than if I were to do 1080 on a conversion, because when you do 1080, it almost gets too sharp with the bicubic sharper. So you need to be careful of that, and if you want to, you can try it out and see what you like. Maybe you'll find it's better. But this is the way I like to do it. So I hope you guys were able to learn something from today. If you were, please be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you aren't already. Feel free to share this on Facebook, Reddit, Twitter, any social media you see fit. As long as my videos are being shared and people are learning, I'm happy. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.